In the 1970s, the world was a very different place. Women in Philadelphia were confronted with political barriers that marginalized issues like sexual assault, domestic violence, reproductive freedom, and economic security. In 1977, a group of visionary women running agencies that were barely keeping afloat joined together and created a hub for women-led, women-focused social change. With that, the Women's Way movement was born. Through the years, Women's Way has transformed the philanthropic landscape of Philadelphia, addressing a breadth of issues that collectively represent women's diverse life experiences. We have invited women to become part of a movement of advocates who strongly believe that women's rights are human rights.
Women Against Abuse is one of the largest domestic violence service providers and advocates in the nation.
I found myself at Women Against Abuse around the same time that they were starting, like the late 70s. When I called in that last time in Philadelphia and said, Bernice, I gotta get out of here, I was desperate.
Women Against Abuse started just as a volunteer hotline, like in somebody's house.
It was Women Against Abuse that I called.
Once they get there, if they're coming to our shelter, they feel such a sense of relief, and we see that people are opening up and taking steps, taking their power back. Women's Way historically has always focused on holistic women's issues. Every year they have a Women's Issue Summit, which is really important to us because we can hear what the whole community is thinking about. What are the barriers facing women and girls? A lot of funders will just say, we think people should do this. And, whereas Women's Way, they're just thinking about how can we most strategically use our funds to seed innovations that will move the agenda forward as a whole. And that's a powerful thing.
Girls Rock Philly is a music and mentoring organization that uses the magnetic force of music to learn an instrument, to form a band, to write original music, all while recognizing your own authentic voice and knowing that you have an impact on the world around you. We serve girls from all over the Philadelphia area. And while we really value that regional diversity, we really also value being in the Fishtown, Kensington area and serving young people from North Philly, from Kensington, from Fishtown, who have very few after-school options.
None of my friends really listen to the type of music I listen to. But people in JRP, they're my type of weird. There's a lot of positive people there, and they really give you advice. It's really, you can use it, and it comes in handy.
I think that's the point, is knowing that you can change things and that your voice is important and that what you have to bring to the table is valued and important. Getting general operating support from Women's Way has been crucial. It's enabled us to sort of expand on these programs and to explore and try new things, knowing that we have this support to kind of keep the back end going and make it happen.
Friends of Farmworkers exists because there are a large number of agricultural workers in Pennsylvania who are very marginalized and who are very exploited. From our perspective, the women among this population are some of the most vulnerable workers in our workforce in the United States right now. Almost all the women that we talk to have been sexually harassed at work. And that's the core, I would say, of our work for women. Having support from an organization that recognizes that this is important not only, for the women that we're actually representing in a legal case, but for all of the women to learn about what is or is not okay at places of employment in the U.S., to learn about what is and is not legal in terms of that kind of treatment in the U.S. The ultimate goal is to make women more stable earners and make them more economically empowered. And the support from Women's Way has been fantastic, just in terms of us feeling like there are people out there that understand what we're talking about when we talk about this stuff. It's been great.
The Women's Medical Fund is an organization with a razor-sharp focus on abortion access. We help women today who need funding for an abortion. A lot of people think that Roe v. Wade made everything okay. And people don't understand that even though abortion is legal, it still has become less and less accessible. There have been more state laws passed in the last 3 years than in the previous 2 decades, all in total. And those restrictions disproportionately impact poor women and teens. And Pennsylvania also decided in 1985 that they would not use their state tax dollars for abortion either. So at that point, low-income women who depend on Medicaid for their health coverage were out of luck. Funding from Women's Way has helped us in several different levels. First of all, the money, we use that for our services. We use that for everything that we do. And then the other thing is the feeling of political support we get. That's really valuable to us. We feel courageous doing our work, and we believe that Women's Way is also courageous. We feel like we have hundreds of women behind us through Women's Way. It's very heartening to us and uplifting.
Women's Way has evolved over the last 37 years and continues to be at the forefront of the women's movement. Through our signature combination of grant-making, advocacy, and education, Women's Way continues to strive for a safe, equitable, and just world. With your collaboration and support, we will get there together.